So, namaste to all my friends. So, we were talking about the purity of the mind. Purity of the mind is the freedom from the mind. We need exactly the freedom from the mind. In the last session, we discussed about an attitude in the mind and behavior outside. But as long as this attitude is dictated and guided by the past impressions, cultural, social conditioning, you may think the best intellectually. It will not work. The past impression will trigger and it will cause some stress and the suffering. I give you a real life example. It happened just a couple of months before. But I don't know why these real life examples, people send the message and they discuss with me, and I could realize. I don't want to reveal the name. Understand it's about Mike and Misa and Michael. Three characters are there. It's a real life example. So that will help you to understand how even the intellect knows, but the attitude in the mind, guided and dictated by the past impressions, fails you. Common example in America, but now it is prevalent everywhere. So Mike and Misa, they both are professors in the university. It is a story about India. Don't take it personally. But even if you take it personally, it is because of your attitude. You have to change your attitude. So, Mike is almost 38, 39 years old, had an intense desire to marry. He was single. He found Misa. She is also a professor. They started talking to each other. So the Mike has some problem from the parents, and he discussed with me, and I said, no, go for it. And at the same time, tell your parents that now it's my time to take a decision. Let me take a right decision. Misa told Mike that I have one younger brother and a sister. I need to support it. I need to support them. Hence, you have to bear with me. So you see, because of the attitude of the Mike, he discussed with me, and I agreed with him that, that is the best way. She should continue to support financially until they become. What is supporting? Did you understand contribution? So she was acting as a contributor. So when my attitude is becoming a contributor, I should take it as a guarantee that Misa will even contribute to my life, means the life of a Mike. And that is what I made him to understand, and he agreed to it. But Indian, parents in India, they are, I don't say crazy, but I'm also a parent. We take an ideal situation. No, they should. I also want Ashok before that. I got a news from Mike's older brother that they were dating, everything was going fine, they wanted to marry, and suddenly something happened, they have to break the marriage. What happened? The older brother is also my student and he is a good seeker. So he discussed in detail with his younger brother and he said, don't go like this. What the parents did, sometimes parents also commit mistakes. So what the parents, had an idea and they convinced the Mike to ask Misha how long you are going to support. It's an irrelevant question. She got upset. The marriage was fixed and it was broken. Now understand why I gave that example. You see a person, Misa, who is a contributor. She is not a consumer. If Misa is a consumer, I have to be a little bit alert in my relationship. Because if I'm a consumer, I will also consume you. I will also consume you. Do you see that? So because of the past impression, he did not discuss with me. He should have discussed with anyone. And his brother told him that, no, you should not go like this. You should not break it. My past impressions, the way I lived my life, and the way I'm living now as a consumer, your mind will go in a negative way. It will create a problem in your life. So older brother was asking what to do. I said, let your younger brother talk to Misa again. Accept sorry and say that I'm ready. You're right. Can you do that? If he can do it, we will have a better life. I possibly feel that. I will tell you the result, what is happening. He discussed with me day before yesterday. And what is ego? Play of the three gunas. Raju and Tamoguna has become dominant. And that is why, even after dating, everything was final. I break the relationship. Not only we break the relationship like this, we break the relationship, professional relationship, social relationship. We break our relationship with parents. This is the entire summary of the purity of the mind and the self-enquiry. I don't know whether you are really getting the feel of it. A simple statement coming from the past impression, based on the reaction, based on the idea of being a consumer, destroys me. And Mike has an intense desire to marry for the last 10 years. Now he's 38. He got an opportunity, he missed that. We miss these opportunities in our life. It is only because of the attitude. Attitude which is guided by the past impressions builds up an ego, and we take a different stand. Because we all are seekers and we have already understood this entire journey. But if you start guiding a layman who has never been exposed to the Eastern wisdom, they are not going to do anything. They will just build up their ego. No, it's okay. I have broken up. Now I will find someone. Now, if you find someone who is a consumer, whose attitude is being a consumer, that guy is definitely going to squeeze you. So you have paved the way of your suffering. I will report to you after a week or so what happened. Did you understand this? Did you really understand? Be very clear about this. A simple attitude being expressed in the behavior causes so much of harm in the relationship. Because if you do not study the Eastern wisdom, you do not know the person's attitude, whether the person is a contributor and a consumer. Consumer is definitely guided by the ego, and the ego will definitely create a problem. Are you getting it? Say yes, please. If you don't get it, you have to listen it again. This is the entire summary. If you recap the entire journey, what is that journey? What is that journey? Ignorance in the impurities we discussed causes the false I. False I declares I am worthy of suffering. And this is what the mic did. I am worthy of suffering. First time he discussed with me, he agreed with me. He argued that, what I have to do. It is better that she is supporting. I have not picked her attitude of being a contributor. I was just thinking that, maybe a couple of thousands of dollars, because I'm a consumer. It will not work. It will definitely punish. The nature gives you the punishment. And we talk of the spirituality and awakening, it will never happen. So we have understood three I: ignorance, impurity, and the false I. Ignorance causes the impurity, impurities builds the false I lives with the three gunas, and ultimately our behavior is expressed every day in life, and that causes a lot of problems. So the master briefed that you should be very clear, practice with the wisdom is important. Practice with understanding is very important. And there the conventional methods of purity of the mind comes. I've discussed in detail connecting, contributing, and being grateful. And the best method to purify the mind is the self-enquiry. We should analyze, we should understand every thought that is being expressed in my relationship with people outside. We should study our own expression of the behavior. And that is what I used to say, the lifestyle change. It should be based on my attitude. And what is the meaning of the self-inquiry? You start thinking about it, why I speak like this, why I have expressed like this. Analyze it. Find out you are a contributor or a consumer. If one of your partner is a consumer, you become the contributor, the life will change. Life will definitely change. So going further, we also discussed about the three pairs of the impurities: one, likes and dislikes, desire, hesitation, and repeat desire. It's a trio. And another duality is the ego and the selfishness. These are the three pairs and trio of the impurities that causes. If we do not remove this impurity, forget about spirituality. You may have a hallucinative experiences that you have recognized God and you see and you communicate with it. Nothing happens. Be very clear. So where to find these impurities? Now keep the story in your mind. Where you find the impurities? You find these impurities in the waking state. In your personal life, in your professional life, in your social life, in your family life, in dealing with your parents, your children, dealing with the friends. Can you internally become a contributor to the entire group of people outside you? See what happens. But when we do not become, then we have likes and dislikes, desire, hesitation, repeat desire, ego, and the selfishness. where we can find, I told you that we find them in waking state, not in sleep, not in a dream state. So their master cautions as and analyzes who is a wise fool and who is really wise. Wise fool says, I'm res- you know, I am suffering because of you, because of this situation, because of the events, because you did not agree, because I feel I am always right, because my way is the only way. You understand? My way is the only way. I do not evolve. And we want to find the real self, not possible. So that's the difference between the wise fool and the fool. Then this master, we introduced the story of the Narada, who was like all of us, and then he became a seeker. He reached to that state of awakening, and so we heard his advice. He says, "Joy and sorrow, likes and dislikes, jealousy and the hatred are the three pairs, which strengthens my false I." 1 hour, give 1 hour time today. Get rid of the likes and dislikes, jealousy and hatred, joy and the sorrow, and find out where is the false I. There is no false I. False I lives on these things. And then we understood the four root weaknesses. I believe you still remember: desire, hesitation, greed, and the fear. We discussed in detail about the fear. Then this Narada continues his teaching. He says, grief and the delusion can only be removed by the knowledge. You do lot of practices, it will not never happen. I have to understand whether I'm worthy of grief or suffering, whether I'm worthy of delusion. Go to the mic again. The mic mind created a delusion. Everything was going so fine in the life. And I was so happy. They have been with me almost for the last, again, 10 to 15 years, maybe 20 years. A slight sense of the ego destroys you. Caused by three gunas, manifest in four root weaknesses. You have to contemplate and reflect in your mind. The more you reflect, the clarity comes. And then you have a smile. Oh, the false I was taking this route, and I have to change my route, and you are clear. Four types of the suffering. Then we discussed about it. Do you still remember? I believe you remember. We're not taking a test, but I believe you remember. Four types: caused by other beings, first type of the suffering; by natural events like flood and storm, due to physical problems; and because of the ignorance. So now you see, caused by the other beings. Again, come back to the same example. Understand it clearly. I'm not saying that you should believe it, understand it clearly. The deeper the understanding, you know how to change your attitude in your life. And done. You're calm. You're relaxed. That is the state to succeed in meditation, results into awakening. As long as this false I keeps its dominance, nothing is going to happen. Then what happened? After four types of this suffering, the master introduces the three gunas. Three gunas. We will understand in detail about the three gunas. So it is the identity. I want to do something, Rajoguna. I want to rest, Tamoguna. I want to study. I want to attend the session, Satoguna. Give me any example where you do not identify yourself with these three gunas. That is the false I. Alzai, waking state, four root weaknesses. Grief and the delusion can only be removed by self-inquiry, by understanding, by applying these principles in your intellect. You start doing the practice, yes, you will calm down. But that grief or suffering or struggle that we experience in our life and the sense of the delusion is living in the mind as an ignorance. What is the opposite of ignorance? Knowledge. If you say opposite of ignorance is action, not possible. Do I say that I will, uh, I will do 1 mile of jogging and then I will come to know what is your name? I'm ignorant about your name. So simple. That's a very final principle. Highest level of a seeker says, I abide by these rules, these principles until I evolve and rise into a new level of awareness. No, I have understood it, but it is not working because you are not applying it. You are not applying it. Now I have understood, but my dad is so crazy, he makes me crazy. Did you apply the principle? Ask yourself. Did you apply the principle? It demands a level of your awareness, your commitment. If you are not committed, you may listen to teachers like me and other teachers. You will change the teachers, but you will not change your attitude. Think of this. I will change my attitude. This teacher, weird guy, is crazy. I'll find another teacher. You change hundred of teachers, but you without changing your attitude, what is going to happen? Change it. So what happens, my friends, that our attitude returns again and again based on my past impressions, based on the cultural, social, religious, parental, family conditioning. Because the way we are born and brought up, we carry forward those impressions. I have to look back, examine it. I have to see what is the better, what is good and right. I have to accept it, what is good and right. By the self inquiry, I have to get rid of it, throw it out from the system. Throw out from the system means you have to throw out from the mind. So then there is another problem. You see the cause and effect relationship we are understanding? Purely logical, rational understanding. That is the beauty of the Eastern wisdom. It doesn't say you believe it. So then what happens as you continue on the journey of the purity of the mind, you continue to rise in awareness, you enter into the spiritual domain, and you start recognizing that every day you find a favorable situation in your life. Conducive events takes place in your life. You don't wait for the birthday to be celebrated next year because every day is your birthday. Why? You have removed those impurities of the mind. But still sometime it happens that attitude which is dictated by the past impression has such a very strong impression, it is very hard to get rid of them. What we should do, we have to hammer. You already know, you hammer the nail into the wall. I have to hammer my mind. For that we need to work. We have to repeat the listening. We have to contemplate and reflect again and again. So we are going to start how to hammer those delusions. What is the situation? What is the condition in my life? What is happening to me? How it is affecting, and what to do. Again, it's a matter of self-inquiry, understanding. My honey caused me the problem. My parents caused me the problem. My mom, my workplace, my boss is crazy. You see? The ego sees all these as a different set of problems. It does not see I have a problem. Are you getting it? I don't see I have a problem. I say, no, no, everyone is, my dad is crazy. My son is not listening. And my boss in the office, doesn't seem to understand. What should I do? After all, I have to earn money, so I go and I remain stressed. As if you are the best person in the world. Look at it, my friends. If we want to change, we want to transform, we want to awaken, we want to realize that higher self, we need to work on this. So, hammering the delusion anytime, anywhere, in any condition, in personal, professional, social, and family life, we have to take a step, conscious step, in a waking state. Boss told you something, you return home, and then you are stressed, you eat in the stress, you sleep in the step, your sleep is disturbed, you wake up in the morning, and you are responsible for it. No one else. It demands a constant contemplation in line with the principles of the Eastern wisdom. You might be realizing at this moment, that, I should not have said this to them. I know, I can understand. You need not to tell me. Because while listening to the teacher, your mind is soft. If you're really a seeker, oh, I should not have told my, son, or I should not have told my parent. Oh, my approach should have been different. Am I right? Aren't you thinking like this? See that? So get ready for the next session. We will pick up hammer on the delusion. Again, understand that delusion means what? Delusion means what? Delusion also is known as Maya. Another name of the delusion is falsi. Another name of the delusion is it. That delusion lives in between. It lives in between real and the unreal. Mirage water lives in between the real, that is sand in the sun. It appears real, but it is unreal as you approach it. Sometimes we see that, sometimes we see uh, we have yet to wait for the clouds in the Arizona. Anyhow, but sometimes you see that the sun is there and it is clouded by the clouds, and you see that as if the sun is moving. Cloud is not, but fact is that cloud is moving. Did you get it? Did you get that example? Oh, the sun is not moving. If I pay attention, I recognize that, oh, no, it's a cloud is moving. My mind and impurity is moving all the time. Behind that, there is a real self that doesn't move. That is the journey of the self-inquiry. Let us start our journey and get ready to hammer on the delusion. I made it that point so that you should not feel hurt. What is hurt is always your false side. Eyes are closed. Eyes are closed. Position of the body. You're comfortable. Comfortable means being comfortable. Being comfortable that you don't try to become comfortable. That very becoming process represents the false eye. Do nothing, just aware of the entire body being comfortable. Eyes are closed gently. That it is symbolic attitude of the mind by closing the eyes that what? That no, real self cannot be found outside in any relationship, in any situation. Hence, I am leaving the objects of the senses and I am bringing the sense organs into the mind. What a great feeling. You need not to work. And then, Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Swastir Bhavatu. I believe while I recite the mantra, you know the meaning. Let there be happiness for all. I can tell you, even if you think like this, you have become a contributor. Keep all the money with yourself. Don't contribute anything. But even if you think mentally and emotionally, you will see the change. And we don't want to do that. Why we don't want to do that? False sight. So we reflect on it that happiness is the essential nature of everyone by default. Oh, if it is by default. So I am a seeker, I am treating the part, I have a greater responsibility in the family, personal, professional, and social life that I should express happiness in all my relationship in spite of others are not doing that. Others are trying to find the happiness by anxiety, by stress, by expectation, by attachment. I believe you're becoming clear. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. Sarvesham Shantir Bhavatu. May there be peace for all. Peace. Peace comes with the happiness. When you're happy, the peace, or when you are in peace, the happiness permeates, it pervades. And peace is again our essential nature. Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu, Sarvesham Purnam Bhavatu. Let there be completeness and all. We discussed also in the last session. A sense of completeness, it is always there. That is the nature of the real self. But what superimposed, false I superimposed on it. It says, no, no, how can you say that, I'm not as rich as you? Comparison, likes and dislikes. You make any statement, and it comes from the false side, from the delusion. And that prevents me to recognize what is already within me, what really I am. That is the goal of meditation. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Sarvesham Mangalam Bhavatu. Auspiciousness be there. So auspiciousness is oppressed, or you can say depressed, by what we discussed today, either by likes and dislikes, or the example of the mic and the Misa. I did not recognize that the other is a contributor. Let me move with the humility, respect, and love and care. Because if the other guy is a contributor, he or she is definitely going to contribute in my life. Ah, oh, that guy is crazy. And then you miss the point. Now we will continue with the breathing, looking deep inside your forehead in the space. Pick a point in the space, my friend. Drop Om Shanti with an interval that we have already understood. And now start breathing quick and short breath from the rib cage through the nostrils. Continue the journey, my friends. Short and gentle breath. Quick, short, and gentle breath through both the nostrils. Even during breathing, you can recognize if the flow of the breath through both the nostrils are equal. Normally, it is not, but as you breathe in and breathe out, it starts the flow equally through both the nostrils. Just continue. You are aware of the resistance if the mind is posing, and you endure that resistance. How? By consciously doing it. Shanti also continues. So that is a pointer. You are sustaining the breathing, enduring the breathing in calmness because of Om Shanti. Short and the gentle breath. Om Shanti continues. You are comfortable with your body. And just stop this breathing, recognize any resistance, accept the changes. Why you recognize the resistance? At least you remember that today I have some resistance from the mind. That is enough. And then changes taking place, then go back to the flow of the breath. Pay attention there. Check which flow is has a less air. Pay attention there. Simply pay attention and see that both the flow from both the nostrils become equal. It can happen in a few seconds. It may take a long time. Why? Same thing, the past impressions that forms our attitude, builds the false I, play of the three gunas. Oh, that is why we are doing the breathing? Yes. And now looking inside the forehead again, Om Shanti, and start belly breathing, long breaths. You squeeze the belly, you expand the belly while inhaling and squeeze it while exhaling. Om Shanti continues, and you are aware of the resistances. And at the same time, you deal with the resistance coming from the mind. You endure it. You maintain the steadiness of the body and you continue doing it. That is going to make you understand how to deal with the mind. Continue. The mind will surely object. That is your resistance. You recognize it. You endure it with Om Shanti and you continue to do it. That will go a long way. I'm doing it just to remind you. And stop it, recognize the changes, recognize the resistance, because that impression will store in the mind, and next time when you do it, you are more aware. And flow of the breath, you're making your mind subtler and the subtler. The subtlest mind can recognize what is behind the false eye. But on the other hand, this is a tantra aspect of the step, or kundalini, you can say. Just become aware of the flow of the breath. Less flow, pay attention and see if we are giving less time in these sessions, we will increase the duration. And you will see that it is the easiest thing to make the flow equal. Equal flow is known as the Sushumna channel, the middle channel. And now, again, looking inside the forehead and start breathing both from the belly and the rib cage. You pay attention that you expand your belly, then the rib cage. In one breath, you squeeze your belly and the rib cage in the one exhalation. One inhalation, one exhalation. You're not sleeping, you're doing the practice in a waking state. The mind will fake you, especially in the breathing, that you are totally absorbed. You are doing an action. How can you be absorbed? You are driving and you say that, I'm totally absorbed. In active phase, your mind is clear. You experience the higher level of awareness. And stop this breathing. Allow the breath to return to its normal. Pay attention to the flow of the breath. And you know what you need to do. So there begins the uh, self absorption because the mind begins to move inside. Why? Because both the flow are equal. What it means that the prana, the force that makes the mind active, has an equilibrium. That is what the middle channel means in Kundalini. And now is the time to look inside the cave of your heart, equilateral triangle pointing upward. Visualize in any color. Move the mind on each side of the triangle, dropping Om Shanti. Why we are doing clockwise and anti-clockwise to find a sync. So mind recognizes the sync here, it will be absorbed inside. Not a big deal. But if it does not sync, then we find there is a lot of resistance, but from where it is coming? From those impressions. And still we continue the journey and wait. And once you find the sync, move your mind from the center of the triangle inside your heart, singing Om, as if you are pushing the mind to a limit. Mind seemingly stops, Shanti, absorption. Fraction of a millisecond, you're just out of this outer world. There is a natural steadiness. You need not to make an effort to make your mind focused. Self absorption is shows you. Well, if that absorption breaks because of some thought, because of some experience, because of some changes, go back, sink, and let us leave this and start with Om Shanti on the 16 segments of four fingers, right sense organ, living in the mind, not going outside. We take their active participation. Why? The past impression will not take these sense organs to create any unwanted image during the journey. Shanti. You understand actually during the practice also sensations, the change in the experience, visions. Shanti. Om, Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Om, Shanti, Shanti, Shanti. Bring your mind on the right hand, mind on the left hand. Lift your both the palms, place it on your eyes. Open the eyes inside the palms. Know your experiences. Bring the hands down. We'll share our experiences. If you have any question, you're free to ask. How are you, Samir?
Sir, I quickly went into meditation. It was very deep, and I didn't wanted to open my eyes. I
Very
wanted
good.
to be there some more time, and I was enjoying the meditation. I was
That's
having
good.
a feeling of
Yeah.
happiness. It was not just looking at my thoughts, and they slowly went away. And It was very peaceful.
Yes, enjoying the meditation also indicates that there is no resistance by the mind during the practice. It's really a good way to understand. How are you, David and Jerry?
Good, thank you, sir. Again, I love the lesson at the beginning. The subtle mind is a great thing that for me to contemplate and reflect on. I did notice during the heart exercise when we went into the cave of the heart, I just envisioned this tunnel with indigo light at the end of it, and I kept going fast through this tunnel, and by the end of it, or at some point, it became indigo light everywhere. So that was kind of interesting, but overall, very extremely deep.
Very good, because when we discover the tunnel and mind is going very fast, it explains the now the mind nature of the mind. It has become an inward moving mind. That is what we need to reach to the higher state of the consciousness. Beautiful. How are you, Jerry?
Sir, I'm good. Thank you. The meditation was nice and calm. The breathing was equal on both sides. I don't normally talk about it, but it normally seems equal on both sides. I like the contribute and or consume approach, and I feel like when we're living from our true self, from that place of love, light, truth, wisdom, then that begets the same thing. And if we're living from our false self, then we beget that too. We beget the suffering. So we know. So if we reflect on it through our day, we're suffering or struggling or wanting
Or
to change, then we know we're living from that false place.
beautifully explained. I just understand, you may be taking, not you, but you all might be, if you go back and listen to this real life story, a single point of becoming a consumer destroys my relationship with the world outside. So I have to look and I have to see if the other guy is a contributor. I should be very near to those people. But they are going to help me. They are going to help me to evolve. Oh, we'll talk in detail. Beautiful. How are you, Stephen?
I'm good, thank you. The meditation I was extremely absorbed, and it was peaceful and extremely relaxing. Thank you.
Beautiful. Beautiful. Wonderful. That's another way to put it. How are you, Brandy?
I'm doing good, thank you. It took me a long time to get absorbed, and as soon as I did, my cat dug her claws into my leg, which I thought was oddly symbolic, but I was able to come back in pretty quickly. So I think there's a lesson there. Yeah.
Beautiful. Good. How are you, Christina?
Thank you. Today the meditation was very deep, and I had that same feeling of almost wanting to stay there, wanting, I guess the question that came up was, can we live in our waking state in that same way that we feel when we get into that self-absorption?
That is what is known as awakening. In the waking state, you now live by the real self, not with the false I. And we can only recognize that in a waking state only. So that is why we say one day you wake up, the entire world is different from you because your perception has changed. And that perception has changed means the way I was looking at the world is now totally different. That is the meaning of awakening. So sometimes it stays for a few seconds in the meditation, and then my false I takes over and we become the same person again. That is where we are heading to. How are you, Dennis?
I'm good, and the meditation was calm and peaceful. What I noticed that in the beginning, I was able to distinguish the flow of the breath before we started the breathing exercises. And after the last breathing round, I was not able to distinguish anymore. So I guess it is what you name as equal flow of the breath from both the nostrils. And then after the triangle, I had some, well, I could say deeper experience that I once already had. And it was like a joy without any reason, without any apparent reason.
Yes, joy without reason is a deeper state. Joy with a reason, false I has come. Beautiful way to explain. That is beautiful. Thank you, Dennis. And how are you, Barbara?
Thank you. Very good, thank you. For today, the breathing was effortless for me, and I was completely absorbed in the cave of my heart. And for one moment, I had a vision of like an eye opening.
Yeah.
It was beautiful.
It's an eye opening, obviously, the inward moving mind, whether you sometimes we feel that you are going into the tunnel, as David was explaining. And sometimes there is an instant self absorption, as the Dennis was explaining, just a sheer joy. That's a beautiful. We are progressing. And how are you, Terry?
I felt more of a balance
Good.
between the joy and the resistance.
Good.
Like they were equal and they were in balance. So it was good work.
Good work. Pressure of the false I is more when we start the journey. And when we continue the journey, either they become equal or it goes up. The state of the meditation goes up, and then we recognize, oh, I can get rid of the resistance easily, there is no issue. And that is a new state of the mind. That is what is known as the inward moving mind.
Oh, good.
Very good. How are you? Who is there? Oh, Sam.
Hey, during the meditation, I was contemplating a lot on something you had said yesterday, which is about how the real self is the ultimate cause and the false self is the effect of the ultimate cause. You've said a lot of sometimes I just have some of the things that you say really resonate with me, and I guess it's been a topic on my mind, but that was really helpful, so I thought I'd share it. The way it was phrased.
Yes, I appreciate it. It resonated in your mind, and let this resonated in your mind become the resonance. So it is always available to you. So then only then we find the change. And we have Ashok. Ashok, how are you?
Sir, I am good and comfortable. Very much.
Very much. Good.
Comfortable. Peace and quiet.
Very good. How are you, Sangeeta?
सर कंट्रीब्यूटर और कंज्यूमर का कॉन्सेप्ट है वो बड़ा इफेक्टिव लगा, तो मुझे अपने आप के लिए लग रहा है कि मैं कंट्रीब्यूटर कुछ हद तक
नहीं हूँ कंट्रीब्यूटर हूँ
हाँ
या Yeah, I have already recognized Sangeeta was a great contributor since I met her. I can talk about you a bit because she has given me a permission. She always, even if someone gets upset with her, she used to talk to me why they get upset. What should I do? You see the attitude? That attitude changes. I know her for many, many years now. That is all. Thank you very much for all your attending.
Namaste.
And we will meet again. Thank you very
Namaste, sir.
much.
Thank you. Namaste.
Namaste.
Thank you.
Bye.
Cheers.